Welcome, adventurers! You've made it to the Wind Down, the live stream at the end of the Geekverse. It's a chill place to hang out here as the sun sets on another day. We're here to have a little chat, reflect on the day's successes, and prepare for a better tomorrow. So settle in with your favorite beverage this evening.
May I tempt you with a cup of chamomile?
Why, thank you, Dory. I would love a mug of tea this evening, but perhaps you would rather have some coffee, though I do recommend decaf this late in the evening. Or perhaps maybe a cold brew is more your style.
Oh, no thank you, Dory. A little red wine. For me, I think.
Sounds like an excellent choice, Gandalf. Whatever you want, it's yours. Could I offer you a bourbon, a martini, an old-fashioned, or something perhaps a little stronger? Ugh. Well, I mean, if that's really your thing, then okay, but I hope we can find something a bit better than that.
Romulan ale. Why, Bones, you know this is illegal.
I only use it for medicinal purposes.
All right, now we're talking. I'm Heath, and I'll be your host. Welcome to my home. Come one, come all, writers, artists, sculptors, storytellers, board gamers, streamers, dungeon masters, fans of sci-fi, fantasy, geeks of all kinds. Whatever your fandom, you have a place here. For soon it will be time for another long rest so that we can recover our hit points, our spells, and our abilities, so we'll be ready to fight on for another day tomorrow. But first, we all need a little time to reflect. Because you've survived another long, perilous day of wilderness treks, dungeoneering, and random encounters. And that's worth celebrating. Let's tell the tale. It's time for the Wind Down. It will improve your life. It really will. Give it a chance. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to the Wind Down. I am so glad you're here. It's so good to see you. How are things going in your life? Has it been a good day? I would say it's been a good day for me. Hello, Stray. Good evening. Good evening. So good to see you. I would say that I've had a good day today. I still didn't get everything done that I was trying to get done. I'm going to have to work with time management in order to do that. But, I got what I got. So we're just going to have to go with that. So before we get started today, we're going to do what we always do. The first thing to do is to breathe and then sip. So we're going to breathe, and then you got your favorite beverage ready? Does everybody have their favorite beverage? Whatever it is tonight, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got, tea, wine, beer, bourbon, martini, margarita, whatever you've got. We're going to breathe, inhale, deep inhale, complete exhale. We're going to do that twice, and then we're going to take a sip of our favorite beverage. Now a sip. I hope you're doing it with me. I hope you're doing that with me. It will improve your life. You'll feel better after the sip. You really will. I guarantee it. All right. So let's talk about why we're here. We got things to talk about tonight. But first, we need to focus on why we are here this evening. We are here to reflect on our day and to celebrate our victories and figure out how we can improve for tomorrow, right? And in fact, we have some code for this. There are two options tonight. You can either be GD, that means good day, or you can be WIT, wit, and that means will improve tomorrow. Although, as Stray has brought up, sometimes you could be both. It could be a good day, and yet you still need to improve for tomorrow. And in fact, that's probably most likely, come to think of it. You had a good day, but was it the perfect day? Was it a great day? Probably it wasn't perfect. So that means even if it was a good day, you could say today was a good day, but yet there are still things that I could improve for tomorrow. I'm going to say good day. I'm going to say that it was a good day today. I'm going to go GD in the chat. GD in the chat for good day. But I am still having difficulty making the time do what I want it to do. There are things that I wasn't able to get done. But on the other hand, I'm still trying to get other things off the ground. So maybe it's just that, I'm focused in the right place. I'm just looking at things larger and I'm not getting there. So I am in the right place. Maybe so. Whatever. Inner Light says mostly a good day, but opportunity for improvement. All right. I hope that you were happy with your day. I hope that you moved your big rocks. I still didn't. Some things just take longer than you would think. So we'll take a look at mine here in a moment. We're going to celebrate victories. So if you have something particularly good that happened to you today, we want to celebrate, even if no one else will. Everyone here in this community, part of the Wind Down and Raven Keep in general and the Geekverse, we will celebrate with you if you have good news to share. So if you have good news, you achieved something you want to achieve, make sure you put it in the chat. We will call that out and we will celebrate as well. If you need to improve and this is what I'm going to do tomorrow to do better is whatever, put that in the chat too. We will call that out. We'll say, all right, that's what we're going to do. Hold ourselves accountable. That's what we will do for tomorrow. Did you have a random encounter? Did something really strange happen to you today? If it did, then put it in the chat. We'll talk about that as well, right? Could be something humorous, could be something just strange, could be something bizarre. We will talk about that. Inner Light says, oh, I submitted the short story to the publisher for the anthology. Congratulations. That's huge. Won't hear anything more about it until the end of December, probably. Yeah, things take a long time, but got that done. Excellent. The fact that it is off your plate and it's now to the publisher, regardless of whatever they ultimately say about that, that's huge. So let's congratulate Inner Light. Thank you. That's great. Congratulations. That's a major thing. That's a major thing. Regardless of what happens to it after this, the fact that it's off your plate and is now in the hands of the manufacturer, or the publisher rather, is huge. I guess I should share. Here is my notebook for the day. What happened to me? I'm still short on core creative time. Oh yeah, see, Gray says, congratulations. We got encouragement and positive messaging in the chat. That is fantastic. That's fantastic. That's what we do. I still am short on core creative time. I can't get that done. I've told you many times that what happens when you're working on running your own business and things like that all of the administration and everything that happens when you're trying to do it yourself takes over your creative time. And I'm seeing this right here. Look at this. No core creative time, no core creative time, no core creative time, no core creative time. No core creative time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days I've been unable to work on core creative activity. That sucks. That's terrible. That's not making time do what I want time to do. I'm not making time for core creative time. Working on YouTube. I was on YouTube for an hour and a half today. I'll do my another hour of YouTube tonight, so I'll go ahead and check that off so I don't forget about it. But the evening wind down will take an hour, So, all right, here I am. I worked a lot on Raven Keep today, just general business stuff. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5 hours. I mean, I was working today. I was trying to get stuff done with clipping video and uploading video and stuff like that. 9.5 hours working inside business administration today. That's a big time sink. Business administration. If you're trying to be a creative person and running your own thing, that is a huge time sink right there. 9.5 hours. I also spent an hour cleaning my front room here and my living room, what I call the front hall or the gaming hall and the kitchen, looking increasingly better. Got that done. I also went for 1 hour of deliberate active recreation. If you were looking at what I was posting on the Facebook, the YouTube stories, the Instagram stories. Hit 4 miles today. Did a 4-mile hike under Adventurer's Load. So I got that done, but as you can see, look at this. No core creative time. I got the YouTube clips exported, but not all of them. I've been working on that a lot. I didn't even get all 10 YouTube clips scheduled, and nor did I get to work on my 90 minutes of online playtest time. It was all of this administration time was sunk into trying to get clips created and exported for YouTube. 9.5 hours. Things take a long time. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? Trying to make things work, but things take a long time. Take a long time to get it done. Sometimes you need to take a little break so you can tackle it with an all new perspective. That's why I do the deliberate recreation. That's why the deliberate recreation, whether that is deliberate active recreation or deliberate recreation every day, that's so important, right? Because what Innerlight's saying is exactly right. Sometimes you got to take a little break. Don't try to work for 12 hours straight. I mean, sometimes that's okay, right? But you need to sometimes take a break, go for a walk, go for a hike, or at least turn everything off, go watch a TV show, something like that. Even if you're planning on going for 12 hours a day, you need, at least a little bit of a break. For me, that break is the deliberate active recreation. I went for a 4-mile hike today. Yeah, so definitely. And that helps. Even though it's not working, you're processing things in your mind. You're trying to get things straight. At least I am. So yeah, exactly. Take a break during your day. Stray says, Heath, you should have a core day where you do business admin, push-ups, and core create. Inner's got it. We can't have our night commander burn out on us. Thank you. Right. Well, perhaps days are that. This is a big transition for me because this is day 29 of live streaming, right? This is day 29 of live streaming. We're about to hit day 30. And when I said I'm going to start live streaming, I was going to do 30 days. So there are still things that have to be done in order to make the live streaming work, this new method of doing things, and also the YouTube work. I've got to write down, I'll probably do this in the morning, but I might do this tonight as well, because I want to write down observations about 30 days of live streaming. What does that do? What do I think about that? What's worked? What has not worked? I think that would be interesting to talk about. How do you integrate that into your day? What's happened? People. The funny thing is that people always ask me, "Wow, you've been live streaming, 2 hours or more a day every day." I didn't live stream for 2 hours a day in the very, very beginning because I hadn't had the idea of the wind down yet. But generally speaking, 2 hours a day. Like, what's happened? Have you gained a lot of subscribers? No, I've lost subscribers. Right? That, you start doing something and, if you're looking at the wrong metric, you'll start to get depressed because, everybody asks me, oh my God, have you got a lot of subscribers? No. Subscribers have been running from this channel, right? I have lost subscribers. So a lot of people would get depressed about that, right? They're like, listen, if you sit down for 2 hours or 2.5 hours every day and you start live streaming, will your subscribers go up or go down? Well, they're going to go down. They're going to go down, right? I was expecting that when I started this. We'll talk about that tomorrow, either on the morning grind or the evening grind. You have to be looking at the right metric because it's very easy to get depressed when you're doing something. You're trying something. I was totally expecting subscribers on this YouTube channel to decrease as I started producing more and more material and going live. I was expecting that, so I'm not depressed by it, right? But other people might be. That's the important thing to think about. If you start doing something like this and starting integrating into your day, are people going to respond positively or negatively? Depends on what metric you look at, right? If you're looking at subscribers, well, they'll probably respond negatively, right? Inner Light says, I was kind of hoping my logo would have been done today by the artist so I could start working on box cover designs, but it wasn't done yet. Oh, so we're waiting on other people to get logos done. I've got some logos I need. I need the logo done for my RPG as well. I got to think about how I want that done. I've got the Theophany logo and the Rapavania logo. I do need an RPG logo, so I'm with you on that. I got to figure out how to get that done. Got to figure out how to do more in less time. And I was thinking as I was talking about that's a very, I want to be a writer and producer, right? And as the producer side of me always says, do more in less time, do more in less time, do more in less time. That's an important part of being a producer. I'm sure that's what producers all over the place says. Stray says, I'm really proud of you, dude. Thank you, Stray. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad. Because the right metric is what's going on in the live streams. The number of people watching, the number of interactions, those kinds of things. I've been watching those metrics. I've been keeping track of that. That's been going up. But if you're looking at something like number of subscribers you have on YouTube, decreased, losing those. And also, number of views per day on YouTube, exactly the same. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. As I've had for several months. Exactly the same. Inner Light says, I finished the spell cards for the RPG game I'm working on. I did that last night. Congratulations. 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 Spell cards done. Excellent. Let me take this down. I answered the call to adventure this morning, so I was CTA. I'm going to put CTA in the chat. CTA. I was up when I wanted to be, and I was working on materials this morning. So there we go. Inner Light says, I think the YouTube algorithm drops subscribers intentionally. You wouldn't mind. We can't do anything about the YouTube algorithm. We can't do anything about it. MBR, did I hit my big rocks? No, because I've been working on exporting and trying to get these clips uploaded. You would think, can't you just set something to upload and then just walk away for many hours? No, you can't. No, you can't. It takes nurturing to get these things right. And I have the additional problem. I've got two logistical problems. If you think about this, okay, what you need to do is you need to make clips of your YouTube videos and then upload them. Okay, you got to do that in bulk, right? Well, first of all, how large is your hard drive? If you need to clip and make clips, you need to download 30 days worth of live. You need to download 30 days of streaming, which is about 30 hours of streaming, or 45 hours of streaming to your computer. And then you need to clip that. How many gigabytes or terabytes worth of material is that? Is your hardware set up for handling that number of terabytes worth of data? How fast is your upload speeds? How fast can you upload? Once you get it cut up, how can you upload it? Because I can't be uploading during the live streams, right? So there's, I have to make sure that all of the uploading ends and is turned off. And YouTube, so far as I can tell, doesn't let you pause uploading. You either have to be uploading or you have to cancel it, right? So it's something that has to be managed, right? All right, I'm gonna be uploading. Oh, now I got to go to the morning grind. Cancel all uploading, and then restart uploading. Figure out where you were, and then again for the wind down. It takes time. So I'm not MBR. I was really hoping I would get to that today because I was trying to. I think this is a wrong, not one from today. Because I was trying to do 90 minutes here and 90 minutes here, and actually I think that's a fantastic way to do this. Even though I didn't hit the goals today, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to export clips. So is it reasonable for a big rock for today to be export all the clips? No, it's not, because that could take days worth of work. So I need some type of way to determine when I have met the big rock for today. And applying 90 minutes to the job might be that. Likewise, 90 minutes trying to get Tabletop Simulator online, didn't get to that. And I got 6 YouTube videos scheduled. Again, thumbnails, big issue. Got to figure out how to get thumbnails done so I can get these things uploaded. Because, hey, if you want to upload a YouTube video, you can take some time to make a thumbnail video. But if you've got 250 YouTube videos to do, you can't take 10 minutes to make a thumbnail. Otherwise, you'll never get done, right? How much time, if you're trying to, if I'm trying to upload, let's say, 3,000 YouTube videos, how much time should I allocate to making a thumbnail for each video? Let's look at that. If I'm going to make 3,000 YouTube videos here on this channel, and it takes me 10 minutes per thumbnail to create, opening up a program, doing whatever I'm going to do, making sure it's right, blah, blah, blah. If you do that, it's going to take 30,000 minutes. That is 500 hours That's 20 days worth of work, 24 hours working solid for 20 days making YouTube thumbnails. Can't do it. Can't do it. So you got to be thinking when you're trying to maximize your efficiency. All right, I got to make 3,000 YouTube videos. That means I'm going to do 3,000 YouTube thumbnails. How much time can I allocate per thumbnail? Got to think about that. Stray, we're celebrating CTA. Call to adventure accepted. Stray, congratulations. Plus, call to adventure accepted. Call to adventure, excellent. Plus, celebrating, excellent. Congratulations. Inner Light says Lathander's Light. I'm not sure what that's about. So I was not MBR. I got to work on that. I was not AF, but I am. I've been charging my watches during this time. So that's why in the evenings I have my watch. But I got to reference my watch for the stream. There you go. There's proof that I hit my watch goals. Did that 4-mile hike. So I was WR. Oh, Lathander's Light, that is CTA. All right, excellent. Right, we had a lot of people who answered the call to adventure today and got up and got things done. That is fantastic. So I'm CTA. I'm also putting WR. I hit all of my watch rings. So I got to work on this. I got to work on making sure I get to my core creative activity. And I got to work on hitting all of my goals. I got to work on making sure that I write down possible goals and get them done. So that's what I got to work on in a major way. When this stream is over, I'm going to start uploading videos again. And we'll see. I have no idea what works and what doesn't work. Been trying things for a long time. So just trying out experiments. Oh, I don't know why I have my WR up there. There you go. So, do you have anything interesting to talk about today? Do we have any interesting geek ideas? Stray asked, does threatening your rings ever work for you? Is that what we're asking? Does threatening your rings, my watch rings, threatening them? I'm not sure what that means. Have to let me know. But do we have other things to discuss? Let me pull up my list of things that I was thinking about. I continue to think about more and more. Oh, Stray says, didn't close my rings. Do think about whether or not you've got the right goals. I increased mine about a week ago, but we want to set things like with our time goal and everything else that we can definitely hit. I really enjoyed my hike today. Found a new place to hike to that was down a dirt road. Really interesting and not a lot of traffic, which was really nice. So, let's see. We've talked about renaming the channel. I just got to do that. When I was at Thanksgiving over the last, the last extended weekend, we had Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. Then I had another Thanksgiving the day after on Friday with the other side of the family. But I was hearing a lot of people talk about weight loss, especially on the first day, the Thanksgiving Day. Even somebody getting the about to have the bypass surgery being done. It seemed like weight loss came up quite a bit. Now, like I said, you may need to gain weight. I would prefer to couch it under the general umbrella of body modifications and are you doing what you want to be doing with your body, and is your body where you want it to be? Mine is not. Mine has to do with losing weight right now. I need to lose more weight. Did I weigh in today? Yeah, I did weigh in today. It was 185 pounds. So I got some fluctuation. I hadn't weighed in a couple of days. So that's slightly up from the last weigh in. But, there's daily fluctuation there. So I'm not too worried. I got the system dialed in. I don't eat that much. Eat about one meal a day and then go for at least a 3-mile hike. So I think I'm headed in the right direction there. But on the other hand, I really want to go ahead and get where I want to be as far as weight loss goes, so that I can order new clothes. I can start maybe doing some costumes and things like that, because I don't want to do those things when I'm heavy. I don't want to do that. On the other hand, for you, it might be the opposite. You might need to gain weight. Later, probably I need to gain weight. But first, I need to lose weight, because it's all fat sitting on my stomach. I need to lose all of that. Then later, I need to put weight in places that are more appropriate for a male, which is predominantly upper body. For me personally, that's what I need. I've been sitting very sedentary, so I need to lose weight, and then I need to reverse this. Inner Light says, hopefully you're not going lower than 180. How tall are you? I am about 6 feet tall. I'm about 6 feet tall. Well, I was planning on trying to go lower than 180. I was planning on seeing if I could get to about. Well, my first target was 175, and I've been lower. I've been to 155 as an adult, but that's when people were looking at me and going, "You look emaciated. Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I was just losing weight. I was just getting in the system and losing weight." So yeah, I was planning on going lower, because the first thing I was thinking you do is you've got to lose. I want to lose the fat, and that, of course, that doesn't mean involve losing a bunch of other things. I understand that, but in general, body recomposition really isn't a thing, because people talk about, oh, I'm going to turn fat into muscle, but that's not actually possible. You can't turn fat into muscle. You're going to have to lose the fat, and then you're going to have to build muscle. Those are two separate things. Fat can't become muscle. So the idea was I need to lose the fat, get back to where I need to be as far as fat, even if that means that I'm a little bit underweight. But then maybe, if this goes well, we keep going, then the next thing would be to gain weight. Because I'm not actually personally very concerned about what my weight is, what my weight number happens to be. That doesn't concern me. What concerns me is how I feel, and if I look like what I want to look like. The primary thing there is feeling. Do you feel good when you are living in your body? Do you feel good? And then the other thing is, when you look in the mirror, do you look how you want to look? Right. That's what I'm concerned with. So there's a number, because right now I know I got to lose weight. On the other hand, there are other numbers, like it might not be weight. For instance, if you're trying to gain weight, in all of this, it may not be, or actually, it may not be that you're trying to gain weight at all. It just may be that you are trying to increase chest size. Like if you're a guy, you're trying to increase muscle mass in the chest area, pectoral area, or bicep area, or shoulder area, or something like that. Maybe if you're a guy, that might have the consequence of having you gain weight. It probably will. Muscle is heavy, right? So if you're only concerned with how much you weigh, and you're like, oh my God, do I weigh too much? Well, why are we concerned about the weight number specifically? The number you could be concerned with is that I want to increase chest size by 3 inches or something like that. I don't know. That might have a consequence of, okay, well, I gained weight because I gained muscle mass, but that would be no problem, right? So at the moment, I'm just thinking in terms of, well, I'm walking around, I got to eat less. Maybe I can lose some weight. And then once I've lost the weight, then there are other things I may want to do with my body. In the end, weight's not important. Oh, see, Stray says, I need to gain weight. I'm at $120, 5'7" feet tall. I'm aiming to get back up to 140. Okay, well then there you go. See, that is a fantastic goal as well. Because like I said, I know it seemed like when I was talking earlier, people were like, oh no, there's a lot of people who need to lose weight. And probably that's true. The number of people who need to lose weight, like walking around the chat or talking in the chat, probably a larger number than those who need to gain weight. But I've talked to people like in real life who were trying to gain weight. It's like, I feel like I'm too underweight. I need to gain weight. I need more muscle mass or whatever. That could be great. So we're talking, the end goal here is how you feel in your body. So Stray is saying need to gain weight at $170, trying to get back to 140. All right, so gain weight. So that's instead of lack of eating, that is eating more calories and more protein and all of that. So the number is not important. You need to gain weight, you need to lose weight. That's not important here. And just talking about what's going on with me, the end goal is where do you need to be in order to feel great in your body and feel fantastic, and also to you look good to you when you look in the mirror. Gain weight, lose weight, maintain weight, gain muscle mass, whatever it is. That's what's going on here. Let's see. Any other great topics to discuss? Let me go over here to my topics. I have a topic that I want to talk about that is Star Trek and feminism, but I didn't get all of the clips from different shows put together for that. So I put that on the list here, but I haven't gotten to that yet. But I think that would be an interesting topic to discuss. So hearing people, it was hearing people talk about weight loss. I guess that's how we got on the weight loss topic. It just seems like even on Christmas, I heard a lot of people talk about that. So at least around my family, that seems to be on people's minds, and even people booking surgical procedures in order to fix that problem. So that's extreme action, but you may need extreme action. I don't know anything about the surgical procedures, but that's extreme action. But like I said, if it's what you've got to do in order to get back to where you feel good about yourself, then all right, let's do it. So let's do it. Let's just do whatever makes us feel good about ourselves. Let's see. We've talked about the Christmas spirit and how we want to do that. I didn't, so as a result, I didn't get out to go Christmas shopping today as far as our decorations and things like that go. Didn't get that done. I'm not sure when that's going to be, but I need to get that done. We got a few more days until actually December hits. I know a lot of people were decorating over the weekend. A lot of people, once Thanksgiving's done, they go ahead and decorate, which does make a lot of sense. But we are still a few days away from December anyway, so I feel like I have time before December hits to go ahead and get Christmas decorations for behind me and things like that. And then talk about the kinds of things we may want to do here for Christmas. Keith says, I'm currently subscribing to a wargaming magazine that comes with sprues, terrain, paint each week to help you slowly build up a few armies for the game. Whoa! Oh, that's interesting. What are my thoughts on gaming subscriptions? Well, I think they're potentially cool. I don't belong to any, but that sounds cool. Especially if it comes to help you, like what I think what you're talking about here, when you've got all of the terrain, sprues, and paint, it's coming to you every week. And if you then block out time to do that, then I would be for it. I would be for it in a big way. And I'm still working on one of the things we're going to do is try to come up with here some time to have creative time at least every month, but 2 weeks would be better, and every week would be even better when we all sit down and paint miniatures. I've got so many different crafts things that I've got to do. I just haven't sat down to do them. But the more stuff that comes in prepped, I'm for it. Because, not everything has to be, if you enjoy painting miniatures, not everything has to be a work of art, right? There's tabletop, you can print things or paint things to tabletop standards. You can sit down and enjoy yourself painting while you watch a movie for an hour and a half and 2 hours, and then have perfectly acceptable tabletop miniatures painted to a tabletop standard, right? And then you not only have had fun for those 2 hours, but then you get the enjoyment of when you play the game next, they're actually with painted miniatures. And yeah, sure, if you spent 20 hours per miniature, they might be even better if you're like going to the golden demon level thing, but that's not necessary. It's that you get the stuff, you enjoy painting them, and then you enjoy painting with them. To me, that kind of thing, now I don't know about any specific subscription for miniatures, but to me, it strikes me as something like like I had Every Plate for a little while, which is one of those meal preparation services. And I did love that. I loved that. Like when Brianna was here because of the cultist, she was living here at the house. Uh, as we were trying to do the cultist, I said, Lynn, what do I do? I'll just subscribe to every plate so that, every week, a whole box worth of exactly what I needed to make meals for the two of us showed up at the door. And I loved that. I loved that because I didn't have to think about meal preparation. I didn't have to think about shopping. I didn't have to think about any of that. It just showed up at the door. I put it in the refrigerator. And then when Brianna and I were like, time for dinner, we had a fantastic time preparing dinner. We had a fantastic time. We just enjoyed it. And then we had a fantastic time eating dinner. And I think of like for the 3 months that I did it or something like that, I only had one meal that I was like, I don't really like this. But so, I mean, they also had a fantastic record. So I say that, so I was extremely pro that. So if someone has replicated that in the miniature area, that they send everything prepped to you, and then you can sit down, time for miniatures or time for terrain making or whatever that is. And you can sit down and you could do it, in 2 hours and just enjoy yourself and then have something to enjoy after that as well. I guess that's the difference there because after you've eaten the meal, you kind of, eaten it. But there's the difference between you still get the enjoyment of the preparation of the meal and then the enjoyment of eating the meal. But with miniatures or terrain, you would get the enjoyment of putting it all together and then also playing with it. If someone can replicate that, I'd be for it. Inner Light says, did Blue Apron for a time. Yeah, I did every plate. But Blue Apron, probably the same kind of thing. And loved Blue Apron also, but it's gotten a lot more expensive since the pandemic. Oh, really? I see like things like every plate. I'm not exactly sure which one it is, whether it's Blue Apron or Every Plate or stuff like that, sponsor different YouTube videos. And they should sponsor, somebody like that should sponsor dinner and a board game. They should. I mean, that seems like a natural connection with the dinner and a board game show. Stray chimes in and says, I had a Dungeon in a Box subscription. It came with standee minis, the flat plastic ones. It came with a quest and a battle map and 2 Reaper miniatures as well. Dungeon in a Box. I come to think of it, I remember talking to someone at a convention, and I videotaped it. I was doing an interview with them at the time. This was years ago, and it's not still up on YouTube or something like that. But this was years ago with people who were starting some kind of subscription box that had something to do with miniatures and gaming and things like that. And I wonder if it was Dungeons in a Box or Dungeon in a Box. I can't remember. Inner Light says, kept all the recipes though, and do drag them out occasionally. I did the same thing with Every Plate. I got a stack of Every Plate stuff because I was thinking if we enjoy a recipe, we should just keep it here and then we can go and get the stuff later. That never happened. But the also thing that happened is that, like I said, of all the things they sent me, I only had one that I was like, I'm not really digging this. So I ended up with this giant stack of recipes. So those are there as well. So that is a huge advantage. We need to do craft stuff. Like I said, there's so many ideas, craft stuff that we should do. The time, it doesn't matter what you work on. I've got a bunch of things to work on. We're like, hey, everybody, maybe that's a Sunday afternoon thing or something like that. I don't know. I got to work on that. But sometime where we can all meet and then put up a lot of people on the stream, so we can have a discussion. Because I've tried to just do some crafts by myself, paint something by myself, and also trying to stream, and it doesn't work because I need to be talking and attentive and things like that and discussing things on the stream. But then when I'm trying to paint something, well, I'm trying to focus on painting something, and so that balance didn't work very well. But I bet if we got a lot of people together to have a conversation while we were all working on different projects, that would work. I bet it would. So that's one of the things that I have got to do. HelloFresh. Housemate had HelloFresh. I've heard good things about that one as well. I don't remember. My brother had Every Plate, and that's why he recommended, and that's why I went with Every Plate. But I don't remember. I tried to. I had a bad experience with one, and I forget what service it was. After I'd done the Every Plate, I looked for something else to find Mediterranean meals specifically. Like, what are Mediterranean meals? And I forget what service I signed up with, because every plate, I wanted to go back to every plate, but every plate, at least at that time, I have no idea what they've got now because it's been a while. But I was looking to see if they had, like, if you could select, just send me Mediterranean meals. And every plate didn't have that, but somebody else had that. And I was like, well, all right, well, let me give this a try. And so I tried that, but they didn't send that to me, or at least I didn't feel they were sending that to me. Like, I got a lot of Indian food. And when I think of, let's have a Mediterranean meal, I don't personally think of India. But for whatever reason, I signed up for Mediterranean meals and they send me a lot of Indian. And so I was like, all right, I got to stop this. And I forget what service that was, but that one didn't work very well. Let's see. What else should we talk about? I have a topic. I need to research this one as well. I've started keeping notes of possible topics to talk about. Necromancy and healing magic is a possible topic to talk about one night. Could be Star Trek and feminism is an interesting topic to talk about one night, but I don't have all the clips that I want to have ready in order to make that work. I want to have those clips ready. I think that's an interesting topic. So I think that actually one of the things that we could talk about is, before we wrap up tonight, is the relationship with work. What is your relationship with work? And this is something to think about if you're a creative individual as well. What your relationship with work is going to be, because you need to have a positive relationship with work. And people do have different relationships with work that I hear from, and I hear different people's philosophies about work. Trey says necromancy is just late healing. Right, yeah, if you get something too late, it's just late healing. I like that. But as creative people, what is our relationship with work? Because I hear the classic, cliche that people say, at the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed and you're dying, you're not going to wish that you worked more. Nobody's going to say as they're dying, gee, I wish I worked more. Do you agree with that statement, or do you disagree with that statement? What do you think? I'd be interested to know. When you're thinking about dying, are you going to wish that you worked more or that you did not work more? Which one of those is it? Depends on your relationship with work, I think. Right? Your answer to that question is probably going to determine a lot about your relationship with that. Keith says, work pays the bills. I'm more happy with this job than I've ever been with any job in the past. I work with a fantastic team, caring for people for a good company. I think that's a completely valid approach here. Work pays the bills. I'm more happy with this job than I've ever been in any job in the past. And that's actually, we've talked about this before, Keith, and I want to bring this up again, probably not tonight, but in another topic, that we're talking about this work relationship, the relationship with work. Because we had talked about, I believe, Keith, that one completely valid way about going about life that could be a fantastic way is to completely separate work from your hobbies and other interests. And if you go to work and then you make a lot of money and you're happy with that, and then you just turn off work and then you go and do all the other things that you enjoy, that can be a fantastic relationship. Keith says, I'd like to work less and play more. Yeah. I imagine that's a pretty common one. A pretty common thing that that on my deathbed, like, gee, I wish I didn't have to work as much. I wish I had played more. Right. Yeah. But for me, when I hear somebody say, gee, on my deathbed, I really wish that I won't want to say, or that I will say, gee, no, that I won't say I wish I had worked more. That's not something you'll say. I'm not so sure about that in my case, because when I think about everything that I want in life, everything that I want in life requires work. Everything I want. I want to have a series of novels set in Rabavania. What's it going to take to write those novels? Work. Work. A lot of work. I also want to have a set of novels written in Theophany. What's it going to take to write those novels? Work. A lot of work. I want my own board game set in Rabavania, and I want another board game set in Theophany. What's it going to take in order to create that board game? Go through design, go through marketing, go through manufacturing, go through freight, go through fulfillment, go through fulfillment to get it out to the world. Work. It's gonna take work. It is. I really want movies, even if they're just for YouTube, set in both of those. Do you know what it takes to make a movie? Work. God, a lot of freaking work. A lot of freaking work, right? What did it take to make The Cultist? I wanted The Cultist to happen. You know what I had to do in order to get The Cultist to happen? Work. A lot of work. I wanted some YouTube videos. I want to get some YouTube videos uploaded. I'd like to have YouTube videos. I sat down for 9.5 hours a day, clipping YouTube videos and uploading them. That was work. Took work, right? I want to have a role-playing game. I want to write a role-playing game. I want to make role-playing game boxes. I want to make campaign settings. You know what it's going to take in order to put a campaign setting on the shelf? Work. Work. It's all work. That's going to be a lot of work. I want to have miniature lines. You know what it's going to take to make a miniature line with 1,000 different miniatures in them that are all professionally produced and are sitting on a shelf ready to buy? Work. It's going to take work. I look at this and I go, absolutely everything that I want to exist in life takes work. And so when I look at this, I go, yeah, if I die and none of those things are done, I'm going to be extremely, extremely upset with myself, because what it takes to make those things happen is work. Everything that I want out of life requires work. That's why I've been so upset with myself over the past 6 months before I started live streaming, because I was in such a terrible state. You know what I wasn't doing during those 6 months? Work. And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that more than you can possibly imagine, right? Because I wasn't moving toward my goals. Because every single goal that I have in life requires work. So my relationship with work is that work is fantastic, because work advances you toward all your goals. So if I don't do work, I won't achieve anything that I want in life. Right? I mean, I can't think of anything, like, for me personally, like, what's worth having? What's worth having in life? What is really, really worth having in life that doesn't take work? It's really hard for me to come up with. Do you have something? It's really hard for me to come up with anything. Like, because even if you say, I want to have an extremely rewarding personal relationship, like in my case, like a wife or a girlfriend. Like, what if I said, I want to have an amazing relationship with a woman? What's that going to take? Yeah, I think that's going to take work. Like, I don't even think that just happens, right? I bet that's going to take a lot of work. I bet that if I had a girlfriend and then I did absolutely no work whatsoever and gave no thought to that relationship, then it would go nowhere, and then I wouldn't have a rewarding relationship, right? I bet it's going to take take a lot of work to have that rewarding relationship. I don't have children. I know nothing about raising children. But my guess is it's the same thing. Like, if I said, you know what I really want? I want to have children who are extremely productive members of society and are quality human beings, and I want to have an amazing relationship with them. My guess is that's probably not something that just accidentally happens. It's probably going to take a lot of work. So my answer is that I think work is everything, right? I can't think of sitting there on my deathbed going, "Gee, I did it. I did too much work," because probably I didn't do enough work. Probably everything worth having in life requires work. Sometimes you don't get the results out of it, right? Or because you're not doing exactly the right thing. But I don't know how to get anything really valuable out of life without doing work. My relationship with work is that I need to be doing work absolutely all the time. And I feel best about myself when I am doing work. You know, work, like for me, if I got to write this novel, that's work. But I do feel good if I sit down for 3 hours and I work on it. I do a lot of work on that. I feel good. That's work, right? Trey says, I worked in the culinary industry. The thing with that job is you can take that drive and love of the craft anywhere in the world. Well, that's great. That's great. And of course, now what I'm talking about here, we have to really talk about what we mean by work, because there are jokes out there that are like, somebody says, I didn't enjoy work. Well, if you enjoyed work, it wouldn't be called work. It'd be called play, right? So you want to do less things that you don't enjoy and more things that you enjoy. So I get that. If that's your definition of work, and this isn't like specifically talking about what Stray says, I'm just saying that specifically, or if you're saying that I'm just defining work as things that I don't enjoy that I have to do, and then non-work is the things that I enjoy. Okay, well, that's a different kind of approach to work that I'm talking about, right? Because to me, even, do I enjoy writing the novel? Do I enjoy coordinating freight logistics? That's the good one. Do I enjoy coordinating freight logistics across the world, trying to get boxes from the manufacturer in China to fulfillment centers across the world in different continents? Is that something that I enjoy? No, not really. But you know what? That's work that has to be done to achieve what I'm trying to do, right? So I got to sit down, I got to do that. And if I don't sit down and do that, people are going to be angry. And also then I won't ever actually realize my goal of having shipped those boxes and gotten them on people's tables across the world, right? So Inner Light says work and money, lots of money, sounds like anyway. It takes work and money, but work has to come first. Money comes at the end. Money comes at the end. I hear so many people who say, well, I can't get started because I don't have any money. Well, you know what? Nobody has any money when they get started. That's what it means to get started. You don't have any money. So you have to start with no money. Money comes at the end. Money comes on the back end. Once you go ahead and do what you're going to do and you get it done, that's when money comes on. Stray says sleep. Sleep is something that doesn't require work, but I'm not sure. I'm not even completely sure about that, because I've been talking on this live stream for the past 30 days that one of the things that I have to do, that in order to have a good day, one of the things that I noticed about me is that when I have the best days, I have controlled sleep. I have deliberately gone to sleep at a certain time, not had technology in the bedroom, made sure that was over, gone to bed at a certain time, done what I need to do to actually sleep when I get into bed. Don't want to stay asleep and don't want to lay in bed and be restless for 4 hours and then not have the amount of sleep that I need. And then I have to be up at the certain amount of time. The watch is maintaining effort, like what levels of sleep that you're in. For me, anyway, just getting high quality sleep to allow me to achieve the rest of my day isn't something that requires no work, right? It actually requires deliberate expenditure of mental energy on my part to be sure that that I arrange this live stream at the right time, right? And that I arrange the bedtime procedure after this, right? To sleep and then wake up. So, I'm not even sure that in my situation, getting high quality sleep is something that can be done with no work, right? Maybe, right? See where I'm coming from? See where I'm coming from? But like, if my goal is I need high quality sleep in order to, it may require work or to actually make sleep do what you're wanting to do. At least that's the way I'm thinking about it right now. Inner Light says you still have to work at a relationship. I mean, exactly right. Yeah, you do. Like, I see some examples. I see a lot of examples of terrible relationships around me, and you never know what's going on inside someone's, personal life. But it seems like often when it comes out, it's often not good. So if you want a high quality personal relationship, it might require a lot of work. It might require a lot of work. But right, yeah, Stray does say sleep is cheap. Right, yeah, work is expensive. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's that too. Sleep doesn't require a lot of money, right? Sleep has that going for it. If you need high quality sleep, you don't require a lot of money to get high quality sleep. Work can be expensive. Yeah, work can be extremely expensive. Yeah, that's another thing. Because if you associate work with receiving money, okay, that's one thing. But sometimes, like Stray is saying, work can be extremely expensive. Like if I'm going to go to work and I'm making, like, for instance, these action figures, is that work that pays me? No. That work is work that I'm doing, but I'm having to pay the manufacturer, right? Because they're the ones who are prototyping and things like that. So yeah, work, yeah, you can do a lot of work and that can actually cost you a lot of money. Absolutely. Work can cost you money. Absolutely. But sleep is cheap, but it still may require deliberate effort on your time, which is what I was thinking about, the mental effort there to get sleep right in what you're doing. Inner Light says, we already spend a third of our lives sleeping. Most of us, we already spend a third of our lives sleeping. Most of us already doing that well. It's what we do with our working hours that defines us. I'm not sure about that. You could be right. You could absolutely be right. But like, for instance, in the United States, I'm here in the United States anyway. There are 320 million people, so 100, like most of us, if you're defining most of us as over half, do you think more than half or most Americans actually are actually receiving high quality sleep? I'm not sure. My guess would be less than most Americans are actually getting high quality sleep. That would be my guess, right? When you think about how many Americans, as a percentage, do you think take their phone to bed and scroll through their phone? The blue light issue may or may not be right and all of that, but like, how many Americans do you think deliberately stop screen time, let's say 30 minutes before bedtime, in order to not disrupt their circadian rhythm in order to get quality sleep? I'm guessing few. I'm not guessing most. So that's just what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking, because we hear all the time, right? How many people are just tired all the time, right? And one of those reasons might be they're not getting high quality sleep. Do you watch TV? Do you go to sleep watching TV? Those kinds of things. My guess is that a minority of Americans actually are doing sleep well. Or even getting enough sleep, right? If you watch movies and you watch TV until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, you have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for work. Yeah, well, no wonder, you're tired all the time. Like, is that doing sleep well? So that's what I question, right? Because to me, it requires deliberate effort and work to do sleep well. Is this a ridiculous way to think about things? This is only my personal relationship with work. It seems like everything that I have to do requires work. If I want to have a nice house, we're talking about cleaning house. You know what? My house went to a disaster in the 6 months when I was in a complete disaster. If I really want to have a clean and neat house that at any time somebody could come over and I would be proud to have them in my house, you know what? That requires work. Requires work. Keep the house up. Requires work. Keith says, I struggle to sleep if I don't use a sleep aid. Without that, I only sleep around 4 hours. Yeah, yeah. I wish that I could turn I hear about these people who only need about 4 hours of sleep at night, and they seem to be extremely productive. I wish that were the case with me, but I need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And yeah, if I screw up and I take my phone into the bedroom with me and I want to scroll through my phone or something like that, at night, I think that's number one. That like the phone does not go into the bedroom. The bedroom has to be a technology-free zone. I was doing really well with sleep when I was doing that. That I was saying that there are only two options in the bedroom. Well, assuming you're alone. If you're not alone, there may be some other options. But assuming that you are sleeping alone, or in the bedroom, your goal is actually sleep. My goal was only one of two things. I can be sleeping, or I could be reading, and that had to be a physical book. It was not, an electronic book. It wasn't something on my phone. There could be a physical book sitting by my bed, and if I was not unable to sleep, I could read a physical book. Those are only two options that I gave them. Stray says, you doing the math on the 11th level wizards in the US cracked me up a bunch. Oh, yeah. So in Discord, Inner Light had figured out or had found that, I believe, in the advanced Dungeons and Dragons books, Inner Light was saying that there would be one 11th level wizard per 30 million inhabitants. And there are like 300 million, 320 million people in the US right now. So that's really interesting. We're talking about rarity of different spellcasters, that there might only, according to advanced Dungeons and Dragons, there would be 10 or 30 million times, so 10 or 11th level casters. That would make them very rare. When you think about it that way, because it seems like in 5th edition, they're much more prevalent. And it has gone up. But if you think about it that way, if you're playing an 11th level caster, I mean, how many, for instance, you think about something rare in the US, let's think about movie stars. Okay, movie stars are something rare. Yeah, but there are a lot more than 10 movie stars in the US, right? So, to be an 11th level caster would just be huge. And Inner Light says, yeah, true technology has been interfering with our sleep patterns for some time. Yeah, I think that could be a big deal. I think that could be a big deal. And so it actually takes deliberate effort and work to get sleep back in order. I think we're probably disrupted in that and a lot of other things. And like I said, the things that I noticed, if you're tracking yourself, like when I'm tracking myself, that a good day begins at the end of the previous day. Because if I'm able to wind down that previous day, get quality sleep, then I get up early and do work. It ends up being a good day the next day. I wonder what would happen if a lot more people were getting high quality sleep. And we're probably not. Oh, really? Whoa. Inner Light says, in the wizard thing, I think someone calculated there would be a 20th level wizard every 200 years or so. Wow, that would make that very rare. That's really interesting. I like that kind of information from the perspective of world building. Yeah, that's interesting. That would definitely be rare. Well, I don't know. So that was my rant on my relationship with work. That doesn't have to be your relationship with work, right? Your relationship with work can be whatever. And also, and please do take my understanding of work in relation, in my particular understanding. If somebody just says work is what you do in order to make money and then play is something else, well, then that's a little bit different understanding. But then what I was talking about, because I was taking it with the understanding that you've got certain goals in life that you want to achieve. What does it take to get to them? Probably work. And probably at the end of life, if you haven't achieved your goals, at least for me personally, if I haven't achieved them, I am indeed going to wish that I had worked more, that I had figured out how to get more work done in order to make those things happen. Because that's what makes me happy. Oh my God, what happened? Okay, there we go. I'm back. Okay, Keith says, a bit random. I helped a neighbor put together a bed yesterday. I'm very jealous of their new bed. It moves into a 0G configuration with a touch of a button. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. For a while, I had that problem. I've got one of these purple mattresses, and I do really like that. I've had that for a couple of years now. I do really like the purple mattress. For a while, I was afraid that I'd made my bed too comfortable. I didn't want to get out of it. But that sounds really cool. It might help out with sleep issues, yeah. Stray says, I like going home too tired to be angry. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, anger, whatever keeps you away from anger, that's a good one. That's a good thing. And Inner Light says, I have a 0G lawn chair I used for sound healing. Oh, I'm going to have to look up 0G lawn chair. That sounds really cool. Used for sound healing. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me as I was on the walk today. I was trying to help people out. You know, I'm trying to think, and I don't always follow through with this, but I've been trying to think, especially lately, that if I'm someplace or I see something and I'm like, if I can help it out, then I probably should. And so I was walking today and I came across somebody's trash can that had been dumped over, and the trash was everywhere out of the trash can. And I walked by and I was like, should I pick up this people's trash? And I was kind of moving, and so I didn't. But I was going to come back the other way, and I was walking back, and so I came back to the trash can. I was like, yes, you know what? I should stop and I should pick up this person's trash. And I reached down for a moment, and then I was like, I'm not really sure I should be picking up, because it was like, all scattered everywhere. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what's in here. Maybe I shouldn't pick up this person's trash. And so I didn't. But I would have. I was like, you know what I should have? I would do this if I had like gloves with me. And that I probably should put some gloves like that in my pack that I'm walking around with, or on my belt or something like that. Because I was like, all right, I'm going to pick up this person's trash, because that way it'll be good for them when they come home. But then I went down and I was like, no, I don't know if I should pick all this stuff up. So now I'm thinking that, I wish I had, but I feel like I need to be carrying gloves with me. If I had had gloves, I would have done it. Like, nitrile gloves or something like that. Then I would. But I left it, and I feel bad about that. But I kind of feel like I need gloves in order to go through somebody's trash and pick it up. Speaking of gloves, Interlight asked, did you ever find your med kit? Never did. Never did. And so I've given up on that, and I'm going to have to rebuild it. I have a list, because when I was making what was in the medical kit, I was making a list and inventorying what was inside. I've been inventorying what's inside all of my adventuring gear. So I have the list, but that still doesn't completely, take away the pain or whatever, because it was expensive equipment. Because it was a trauma kit. It wasn't just a medical kit. It wasn't just Band-Aids for like, oh, I got a blister or something like that. I was intentionally trying to put together a really good trauma kit in case I'm out someplace or something is going on and there's actually something that could potentially be a life-threatening injury. So including like tourniquets and skin staples and, all of that kind of stuff. Not what you get, for a first aid kit that's nothing but Band-Aids, but, a really good trauma kit. And so, but I'm moving past that now. I've moved past that now, and I'm just going to start over, and I will have to build it out again. And I'm going to do that soon, because I started with my medical supplies for my adventuring kit, and then I lost it. So I'm going to do that. Intent karma is real. Yeah, I hope so. I really would have. I was like, I need to do this. But on the other hand, like Keith is saying, gloves are a good call. So I reached down and then was like, I'm not sure this is a good idea. So I'm sorry to those people. They'll have to pick up their own garbage, but I would have done it. But I'm trying to do things like that. But that means that gloves need to go into the adventuring gear. They should be part of the adventuring gear anyway, right? Because you never know you're gonna have to, right, like you might have to pick up some of my trash or want to, right? You never know what you're gonna have to touch when you're out on an adventure. So gloves should be important. So now I know, and those are going in. I'm thinking about putting together. I'm wondering how I can integrate that into a like afternoon video or something like that in order to do more. Since I've had the idea of the fantasy kinds of stuff, modern day adventurer. What is our modern day adventuring gear? I want to put together a scout belt, what I'm calling the scout belt. I found like I was having problems. I don't always necessarily want to have my backpack on. That's good to have, but in situations where you don't have your backpack on, putting everything on your belt. But there are a few things that are difficult to carry on your belt, and one of them is like a canteen, or some otherwise kind of container. But I found they have drop leg holsters for canteens. And I was like, oh, well, that's freaking awesome. You have your belt, and then your adventuring belt with different pouches and things like that. But for something big like a canteen, it can go drop leg. So I got to get something like that. Innerlight says intuition might have saved your life. Well, it might have. Maybe that's what it was. Stray says Elven EDC Ranger kit. Yeah, I want to get that together. And I found that if I put on my EDC, like if I don't put on my EDC before the morning grind, then my EDC doesn't get put on. And then when I'm out on the afternoon adventure, sometimes I'll just I got to go out for a walk. I'm going out right now. And if I haven't put on my EDC before I start the morning grind, then I'm without my EDC. And I don't like being out on the afternoon adventure without it because I need it. Like I've encountered situations where I'm like, I don't have it and I want to have it, especially with regards to self-defense. People won't believe that, but I've had, self-defense. There's self-defense issues when you are walking around for a hike and things like that. And are you prepared to defend yourself? And regularly I am in situations where I have to think about self-defense, and part of EDC has to be, everything that goes along with that, including self-defense equipment. And so you have to have that on. So EDC has to be on before the morning grind. And that way, if you've got it on with you and you decide to go for a walk, you've got it, which is the way EDC should be, right? That's the way EDC should be. So EDC, but then you can also put on your, a larger adventurer's belt. I'm working on that. I've seen the belts. Well, see, right. Okay. Let's hold on. So like this right here, can you see? Whoa. This is my main EDC. You can't really see right here. It's too dark. This is my main EDC setup across the belt pouch right here. And of course that goes on belts, on my belt. But you got to get that on in the morning. And my problem is that that's actually on the belt, and then the belt has to go through the jeans, like loops and things like that. What I've seen when people are setting up what they call battle belts is a Velcro belt they call hook and loop tape is the more general one, where you have the Velcro belt that actually goes through your jean or pants loops. And then you have another belt that actually Velcros on over that when you're ready to put on your EDC. And I want to get that, but that's another one of the things that I don't want to get until I lose the weight, because I don't want to buy a really nice battle belt for EDC adventuring when I'm fat. I want to go ahead and lose the weight, get to my waist measurement that I want. And one of my rewards for that is going to be to get a nice battle belt so that I can then just in the morning put on the internal Velcro belt. But then when I'm actually walking out the door, have a couple of different belt setups that are hanging by the door, depending on exactly what I'm going to go and do. And then that way I can just Velcro on the outer belt and have the necessary adventuring gear. I want to do that. That's where I'm going. But I haven't got that worked out yet. And I'm still kind of working on the EDC. I dropped a part of it recently. Yeah, a belt pack with a harness might work well for you. Yeah, the belt. I had started working on the pack, the belt pack, the backpack, but I I'm going to fix up my medical pack again because I lost it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. But then I'm going to work on the belt. Like instead of going on because I haven't finished my whole backpack loadout. I've got my backpack loaded down with stuff in order to get, about a 26-pound weight on it. But probably it's going to be a little bit heavier than that once it gets actually completely finished. But I didn't think I needed a chest rig. Now the belt, so the belt, I was like, yeah, if I could get a good belt, like I call it the scout belt, put on the EDC, and then also have the, the drop leg holsters for things like canteens. I mean, you could put a pistol on it too, or whatever else is you're going to put on the drop leg part of the belt. That would be a really good rig. But I had been looking weeks ago, at people who are doing these, really elaborate chest rig loadouts. And I'm thinking, I don't need a chest rig loadout. But as I've been walking around, this is why it's good to practice with your stuff and your adventuring gear. As I was walking around, I all of a sudden realized, oh my God, why would it be so nice to have a really nice, not only belt, but chest rig? Because really, the stuff, I have stuff on my backpack, in my backpack, of course, and I've got stuff on my backpack. But even the stuff on the backpack, I got to take off my backpack in order to access. So I really don't want to have anything in or on my backpack that I would need to access immediately. Anything that I would need to like, so basically if I'm not stopping at a rest or I'm not stopping for the night, I don't really want to have to get into my backpack. The backpack stuff is like food, the shelter for the night, that kind of stuff. But other stuff that you might need to access, belt rig and chest rig is actually fantastic. Yeah. So I'm thinking about that. I'm not weird. I'm not worried. I'll look weird walking around some type of adventurer's belt and chest rig, but whatever. I think it's it's fun. It's fun. Hey, have some fun, right? And then you're ready for the adventure. Stray says, "Oh, nifty, yeah, morning ritual. Yeah, I think it has to be. It has to be. That's on my morning ritual list, is to make sure that EDC is on the on your person." Because previously, like sometimes I'll walk out the door without my wallet, and then get someplace and like ready to buy some. That's something really basic, right? But before you walk out the door, and I've started to put a list, and I got to revise this list. I'm like, here's the list that's sitting by the door. Do not leave this door without the following things, and that lists out the bare minimum EDC. And if I can put that on, then I know I've got what I need. Now, one thing that I'm having trouble EDCing is a sheath knife. The sheath knife that it's not sitting right here. But as far as self-defense goes, I'd really hate to take out like a dog with a sheath knife. I would really hate that. That would not be a good day. But okay, that's better than nothing. But on the other hand, I haven't found a great way to make sure that just the sheath knife is everyday carry. Several times from walking around when I don't have my EDC on, like you've got to improvise weaponry for approaching dogs. At least some people may be surprised by that, but at least where I live, if you live out in the country, I found that every about a mile and a half, you have to deal with somebody's dog or dogs, plural. Sometimes it's dogs, plural, that are not on leashes, are not in fences. That about every mile and a half, you find somebody who's got their house, at somebody's house, where they just let their dogs run loose. And dogs do not understand the street. They do not understand the property line. They don't understand anything like that. So about every mile and a half, I found on a walk. Which, if you're going to be walking for 3 miles, or you need to do 12 miles in a day or something like that, that means you have to be prepared, I've found, for multiple potential hostile dog encounters during the day. At least around where I am, right? I don't know what other people's experience are, because some people are shocked when I say that. They're like, where do you live that you have to deal with people's dogs? Well, I just live in the country where people let their dogs out, and you don't know what your dog is doing. You just let them out, right? They could attack anybody who's just walking by. And so, you got to be ready for that. So I think a lot. I don't really think too much about self-defense as far as people go. I'm not too worried about that, because you can talk to people, but you can't talk to people's dogs. Stray says, I have an NYC legal Kershaw. Most of the time, track and field skills will save you instead of skill with a blade in a knife fight. Can't outrun a Fury missile, though. No, I can't outrun the missile. That's true. But also, I don't run from dogs. Because if I'm walking by there again, I want them to know that I'm not afraid of them. But on the other hand, like, if things got serious, I do think, oh my God, what's going to happen if I have to roll for initiative with this dog? Because I think about that quite a bit with people who just let the dogs out as I'm walking by, and dogs are coming across the road and stuff like that, sometimes in a pack. Because when I was younger, my younger brother, who was a kid at the time, was in a situation where somebody's dog was out and just tore him apart, especially on the arm. The arm tore into him, blood everywhere. He had to be taken to the emergency room to be sewn back together because of this dog attack. And of course, my father was not happy that it happened. And so, went and found whose dog that was. And it was this older lady who was just absolutely shocked. Just absolutely, I mean, that was nothing that she'd intended, of course. I mean, by the time, she was just beside herself in tears that her dog had, torn my brother up and required stitches and everything else. And so she was beside herself. But my point is, that doesn't, like I am sure that her dog, when the dog was in her house in the evenings, was perfectly nice, and that she would never imagine her dogs doing something like that. But then if you just let your dog outside with no fence or no leash or something like that, roaming the neighborhood, you don't really know what your dog's going to do, right? So after seeing that happen to my brother, I don't take dogs lightly when they start to approach. When they're leaving somebody's yard, coming across the street, snarling or growling or something like that. But I'm working on that. Well, I would like to talk about adventuring gear. It would be really cool to do like medieval or fantasy adventuring gear, I think. I was in the SCA for a long time, and it would be really neat to do like fantasy adventuring gear. But that's probably more expensive. And it's also probably a little bit less practical. Because my immediate idea on this was, I started wanting to get together some gear for just emergency situations. Like, do I have enough gear for an emergency situation? And so I started assembling that. And that was also why I started with medical. I was like, I had even been here at the house where somebody was helping me renovate. And he had cut himself with his knife. He was trying to get something out, and he gave himself a rather bad cut with a knife. And, in retrospect, he kind of put himself back together. But in retrospect, I wish I had had better gear here at the house to handle something. It wasn't a minor cut. And it also wasn't like a major cut that, like, oh my God, you got to get to the hospital immediately. So it was one of those in-between things. And he kind of took care of it himself, even though I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? But in retrospect, especially, I was like, you know what? Here at my house, I should have enough gear to take care of something like that, at that level. The in-between, like, minor cut that needs only a Band-Aid. Okay, there's that. And then there's the, oh my God, we got to get to the hospital right away. But there's this intermediate category as well, right? That I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I have enough equipment to handle an intermediate category, especially if you're going hiking or something. So been working on that. But it occurred to me that if I assemble that, That's not only just, hey, good stuff to have around as far as in case there's an emergency, you have the equipment, but then it's like an adventurer's backpack. And I'd be able to, like, if I add hiking gear and stuff like that, I would really like to be more mobile and be able to just go out, hey, let's go someplace for the weekend or something like that, and have it not be such a giant deal because you could camp someplace or something like that. And if everything were assembled, all the equipment were assembled, stuff like you could just throw it in the car and go. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know why I hadn't thought about like that in the past, but having like an adventurer's backpack that's actually practical for, hey, I'm going someplace. You might need a couple of different setups for, hey, I'm going to the beach. The beach might require some a different kind of pack. But that's how I'm thinking about this adventurer's backpack setup, that I need to get it so that it's everything that I need. If I want to walk out the door and I want to go for like a 3-day weekend someplace, everything's in it. Pick it up and go. Well, tampons are good for your ouch pouch. Stops bleeding and chicks dig your kit. I have that on my list to include. I have that on my list to include. I haven't gotten them yet, but in the ouch pouch, I want to put tampons in it. I have heard that it's kind of a myth that they are good at plugging bullet wounds. Like I have had other things in the trauma kit before I had lost the trauma kit to plug bullet wounds with. But so my reason to get tampons is just because in the ouch pouch, right, the everyday needs, that would be something that comes up, and I hear it comes up a lot, especially if people are running something like a first aid or medical station at any type of convention or festival or something like that. So I want to have those, but not necessarily for plugging bullet wounds. Have other dedicated gear for bullet wound planning. Bullet wound. I don't know if it's repair, but in the event of bullet wound, having something other than a tampon is probably good. Stray says good. So I think we talked about that. I got. I don't want to go into this tonight, but like this is like I love. Like part of my EBC is this. I am part of the YouTube Altoid survival kit. I did this. I started this to try to get my nephews involved. I was like, this would be really fun. So I bought them all Altoids, and I was like, all right, now so enjoy your Altoids, eat your Altoids, and then after that, you're going to have this kit, this Altoids tin, and we will build. I built a survival kit with one of my older nephews, but it didn't. It's waterproof. It didn't go. It was larger than an Altoids. I'm gonna have to reevaluate what's in my Altoids tin, but that's part of it. I just think it's fun. All right. Well, we are coming up on an hour and a half. That means I need to wrap up. It has been fun. Keith asks, was I in Scouts? No, I never was. I thought about joining, and I remember going to the first orientation meeting, but I was, and I still remain kind of an introvert. I'm not real extroverted. So that meant, especially as a kid, that I wasn't a real big into joining things. I kind of had to be pushed into that. So I never joined the Scouts. I went to the orientation meeting, and I just remember being kind of overwhelmed and being like, no, this isn't something I want to do. This isn't something I want to do. So I never actually joined. However, I had a Boy Scouts, and it might still be sitting over that shelf on that over there. But I had a Boy Scouts manual as a kid that I loved. I read the Boy Scouts manual all the time, and I would go outside when I was a kid playing around, experimenting with knots, tent building. I tried to build a log cabin when I was like, I don't know, 10 or something like that. That did not work. But I had the Boy Scouts manual. And so even though I wasn't in Scouts, I was like, oh my God, this stuff is so cool. So I had that. And I also had, I'll show you this other book. I see it sitting over here. This is a great book. This book, a family friend of mine, and actually it's not this particular book. So this is why this book looks newer, but it was this book, this edition of this book that a family friend of mine gave to me when I had honor society in 6th grade or 5th grade or something like that. And he was like, wow, congratulations. Here, let me buy you this book. And he bought me this book. Like I said, not exactly this copy, but this edition. I don't know what happened to my original copy, so I had rebought it. Camping and Woodcraft. I love this book. This book is so great. This book is written by, let's see, what's his name here? Horace Kephart. And he just would go out into the woods, and then he wrote these two volumes, but this is both of them. And man, this book has so much great stuff. I don't remember. Yeah, it was like originally written in like 1862 or something like that. So we're talking about like real hardcore going into the frontier. Here's what you need to know kinds of stuff. And so I want to get more into that. And I want to, I'm not like a hunter, like personally, but I want to be able to do it. That's something that I think would be great for the afternoon adventure and to talk about these kinds of things, because I would like to go on a hunt and be able to completely dress a deer. You know, like I said, I don't just go on hunts, but I feel like that's an important skill to have. So, you know, of course, dressing deer and dressing different animals is all in here. So I would love to learn that kind of stuff. I also got this boxed set recently, the Bushcraft boxed set, and I want to go through that. So that's, I'm trying to do more of the kinds of things that I like as well. So the afternoon adventure is part of this. So the Bushcraft box set, we got books here that are trapping, gathering, and cooking, Bushcraft 101, Advanced Bushcraft, First Aid. I love that kind of stuff, even though I was never actually in Scouts. And I'm trying, that's what I was trying to do with my nephews. When my nephew comes over, and there is a video on the channel about this, but like when my nephew comes over to spend the night with me for board gaming nights, we play board games, but I also try to teach him something about, camping, some kind of camping related stuff. So, we did fire building and how do you build a fire one time. So we play games and stuff in the night, and then, watch a movie and then play games in the morning. But I also always tried to incorporate something like, how do you purify water? How do you build a fire? How do you, we've only had a couple of these, but fire building, purification, fire building with different methods of actually striking a fire, whether that's a ferrocerium rod or a, they like that. They like striking the ferrocerium rod. The storm matches, what's it like to strike a storm match? Impregnating the cotton balls with petroleum jelly and using those as tinder and things like that. So I love everything like that. Keith says, the book looks very cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm an Eagle Scout and my kiddo is in Cub Scouts now. I hope that sounds cool. I hope that goes really well. I said, it's not something I've done, so I've just had to do it kind of independently. Today, I definitely would hey, let's join. I really want to go, and Brianna wants to do this as well. So that's another thing that I've got to do. Brianna wants to do some like survival stuff. She's up in Colorado, but we were looking at things like that to do. I would love to do more of that. Like even today, go to like a week-long survival school or something like that. Definitely would do that. If I do that, I would record it for like an afternoon adventure. That's more than an afternoon adventure, but that kind of thing for YouTube. I would love to do this. There is also here in Alabama a combat park where you can drive a tank, and I want to do that too. They've got a tank out there. I need to do that for fun. Keith says, we used to camp in Canada for winter, Klondike Derby camping. Wow. I have been to Canada, but only briefly. My buddy and I built a snow shelter one year to sleep in. It was a lot of fun. I bet that was a lot of fun. That's pretty cool. Uh, that does sound cool. I would like to try that too. All right. Well, I got to wrap this up. I'm going to try to get a few more uh, YouTube videos uploading and stuff like that. Oh, Fire Tender too. Stray says, I have a small sandwich bag stuffed with dryer lint for Fire Tender. I bet that works really great. I bet that works really great. Um, that'll probably start a fire in an instant. Well, we'll talk more about EDC another night, or also on other videos, because I see that's another thing that I'm interested in, like this kind of stuff. And I'm wondering, of course, one answer is, well, don't worry about trying to make it video material or anything like that. That could be an important thing. Like there's certain things you do on video, there are certain things that you don't. So that could be it. But on the other hand, like how do you incorporate that if you were going to do it, is there some way to incorporate this kind of stuff into one channel, right? Because everybody's always like, you got to separate stuff. Because people who are interested in EDC are not interested in tabletop games. On the other hand, I don't think that's true. We're seeing that right here, right? People who are interested in playing board games and stuff like that also are interested in camping gear and stuff like that. Yeah. Trey says Discord channel. Yeah, I think that needs to happen. Yeah, I mean, I think that needs to happen. Talking about EDC and camping gear, because the theme there carries on. That my phraseology there is that we want to be able to do some things that our D&D characters can do. So we should be able to go hiking, go camping, be prepared for injury. Like we're probably not going to be stabbed by an orc, but I was realizing after that guy cut himself, like I said, not severely, but badly at my house, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I should have more first aid equipment and first aid training than just a Band-Aid. That seems like a reasonable thing. So yeah, it may be that there's a way to incorporate that into what we are doing here as well. And that's why I have been so excited over the last month as we've really started going here with the live streaming, because I've had ideas like that and how to incorporate the EDC and the camping or the adventuring into something that I had never had prior to starting the live stream. That's why I'm so enthusiastic and excited about what can potentially come, because I've got all these interests, and so other people, like we're seeing right here, also have similar interests, right? In a variety of different spheres. It's not all at the tabletop like we're talking about here. We're talking about, camping and adventuring gear. Everyday adventures, right? Yeah. EDA, right? Everyday adventures. Afternoon adventures could be, or could be everyday adventures, right? There and pack again. I like that. Right. Because I think there's a theme. I think there is a way to incorporate it so that it doesn't seem like something that is so, off the side with something that doesn't fit in. I think there is. And that's why I'm so excited about all this. It would be fun. Like, I think it would be fun if we were all at like Gen Con or Origins or something like that. Say, hey, for those of you who want to partake in the afternoon adventure, we'll explore Indianapolis. Get our walk done. Bring your adventuring gear. We'll go for a walk around Indianapolis and see what we can find, rather than just staying at the convention center. Now, of course, there are reasons to stay at the convention center when you're at a convention. But on the other hand, get out, explore the city, things like that. So I think I'm seeing something. That we could possibly do. All right. Well, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to fire up Goodnight Sword. I'm going to do about 20 more minutes of work. Then I got to get to bed. I got to actually actively work
by E.H. Robinson. Illustrated
I
by
really
Adam
enjoyed
M.
talking. It was
Botsford.
fantastic. It was a great
Narrated
night. Thank you
by
so much.
Brianna
Thank you
Da
for
Silva.
being here. I love talking to you.
Part
really
of the tales of
making my
Rapavinny.
day so much better. See you later.
Good night, sword. Good night, gourd. Good night, guards who keep us all safe. Good night, dagger. And the iron hauberk. Good night, cheese. Good night, keys. Good night, elm. And good night, helm. Good night, squire. And good night, liar. Good night, shield. And good night to the lance only the gallant wield. Good night, banner. And good night, jewel. Good night, gruel. Good night, knights. And good night to the old soldier who says time's been cruel. Good night, maiden fair, whose favor I bear. Good night, rabbits everywhere.